Hi, this is Alex from phpacademy.org with a video tutorial for the new Boston. In this video we're going to take a look at the scroll top functionality in jQuery and how we can return a particular, an integer value of the current scrolled position in, let's say, a text area. So on this page I have a text area here with quite a bit of content inside of it, enough for us to actually scroll down. At the moment this text area is quite tiny. Let's go ahead and look on the page. You can see it's quite tiny, so I'm going to go ahead and apply some styling just to change this. I've got a CSS file which I have included on the page called style.css. You can see that we've included it here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to set the height and width of this. So the text area ID is text area. Let's just go ahead and say text area, and in here we can say height. Let's give it a height of let's say 200 pixels and a width of 100 pixels. No, we'll say 350. That's going to make it a bit more even, and you can see that that's changed that quite nicely. Okay, so essentially what we're going to be doing is we're going to be feeding back the current scroll position inside of this div. Now this isn't useful until you actually find, some kind of other use for it, and if you look in the example applications that I've created in this series, you'll see an example application that deals with scrolling to the bottom of this text area, and then returning or enabling a particular button or a checkbox. So here's the knowledge, and then you can go ahead and actually apply it to a real life situation a bit later. Okay, so we've got this div ID with feedback. We've included jQuery obviously, and also ext.js, which I've got open here. So we're going to be going and writing our code inside of here. And we're essentially all we're going to be doing is relaying the currently scroll position inside text area. Now it's important to know before we start that you can use this with absolutely anything. You can use it with the current window. For example, if you had enough content on the page where you could scroll down, you could relay to the user the currently scroll position. Not that you would actually go ahead and display this integer to a user because it might be useless, but obviously you can use this value to perform a specific action, maybe when the user reaches the end of your page. So it could reload information, for example. I know if you go to Twitter and you click on a list of someone's tweets and you scroll down to the bottom, it will automatically load more tweets. So this is an example of this kind of functionality. But for now we're going to be focusing in on this text area and just relaying this value. So let's go over to ext.js and let's wait for the document to be ready. So we do document.ready. So we are applying the ready event handler. Inside here we create a function, and inside of this block of code, let's bring it down. We're going to relay the scrolling position of this text area into feedback. So we want to apply an event handler to text area, and that's going to be the scroll event handler. So let's go ahead and select the text area div, and let's apply this event handler scroll to that. Now inside here we can go ahead and create a function, just bring this down, and what we want to do is now pick up the value of the or the scroll top of this text area. So all we need to do is reset a variable or create a variable, and I'm just going to call this variable scroll top for now, scroll_top. So every time the user scrolls one part of this down, we're resetting this variable scroll top to equal the scrolling position. So what we want to do is we want to reference this with this because we're already on this current object, and then we want to just use the scroll top function. So now that we have this value scroll top, this is going to dynamically update as we scroll in this text area. So all we need to do now is go ahead and relay this in feedback. So let's go ahead and select hash feedback, and then we say dot text, and we can just place some text in here. So I'm just going to say currently at position, and then append on the scroll top variable. So essentially as we scroll, we set this variable every time, which is equal to the position that we're scrolling at, and then we just pop this into the feedback area. So let's go ahead and refresh. The feedback area is down here. When we start to scroll, you'll see this value update itself. So we know that we are at a particular position. And what we can actually do is, more easily than not with the window, because we can use window height to grab the window height, is we can use some calculation to accurately gain the integer that's associated with the current or the maximum scrolling height with this, and we can determine when we're actually at the bottom of a particular element. So it works well with text area, and it can be applied to, like I said, enabling a like a checkbox or something, if these are terms and conditions, for example, and you want the user to scroll down before a particular check area or button is available, or checkbox rather. But again, you can use it for window. If you're scrolling down a window, all you would have to do is go ahead and change this to window. Obviously it wouldn't be in this context of scrolling in a text area, but you can obtain the value of the scroll bar in the current window by using window scrollTop. So that's the scrollTop function in jQuery, and a bit about how we can use it. However, go ahead and check out the text area tutorial, and that gives you a bit more information about how we can put this into practice.